接下来我们跟 RNG 对战了，然后我觉得 RNG 的中野很强，前面我要小心他们，然后就好好发育，好好保护我们光哥和我们马哥。我爱出肉是因为我相信马哥，就我出肉保护 AD 就赢了。
That's actually interesting. I like to build tanky because I believe in Smlz, but you've been doing this before. This wasn't just when you had Smlz on your team, Doinb.
And if you go all the way back with Doinb's history, he used to be a Morgana mid main when he was back with the QG Reapers in 2015, and Swift was his jungler. And it used to be that he would play Morgana mid every single game and just literally stick to Swift like glue, and it was almost like a Mac Noon-esque style. Swift goes in, and instead of giving their resources to their jungler like every other, or excuse me, their AD carry like every other LPL team, they would give all of their resources to their jungler and peel for him.
Yeah, this is very interesting. You can see Stake behind the rest of the team as well as their coach. And RW, maybe things are finally starting to come together for them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's also Stake versus Heart on this matchup. When we talk about Rogue Warriors, we talk about RNG, but Heart, formerly of the Samsung teams, moved over to LGD, is now the coach behind RNG. Definitely has a bit of work cut out for him, because I feel that there were some questionable calls in that draft.
Yeah.
You know, giving away the Lee Sin to Flawless. I think he's going to kind of grab the reins and be like, okay, you had your chance, and now I get mine.
I mean, they're definitely a diamond in the rough type of team, but talking about identities as well, RNG have very much changed, especially in this game because they've substituted Karsa and Y4 back into their roster. And you know, we heard it from MLXG and Xiaohu that they are just trying to experiment right now before Chinese New Year, see what the best iteration of their roster looks like, and also get some game time as well for their bottom lane AD carriers who, once Uzi comes in, probably not going to see the light of day for a while.
And while that can be confirmed, Clement and I have talked at length about this, that we don't think that MLXG and Karsa, like, they're not just experimenting, you know what I mean? They're not just, like, feeling things out. Karsa and MLXG are very competitive, and come playoff times, I have my bet that one of them is going to be the primary starter. And Karsa does have a lot of ground to grab on MLXG in terms of his synergy with the team. So while RNG are probably taking a little bit easy before Chinese New Year, trying to figure out and experiment a little bit, I feel like the junglers are still playing a very fierce, competitive match between themselves.
I mean, there's very much a big difference between the junglers on top of that. Like, we heard from Xiaohu saying that with Karsa, I don't really need to micromanage him, he kind of just does his own thing, and whether that's for better or worse, that's how the team treats him, whereas MLXG is very much, he tells him what to do, like, all the time.
Does have more of a voice in shot calling, though, surprisingly, for being micromanaged so hard. Although we're still looking at Rogue Warriors here, and Mouse, can someone get him a cone? Got a bit of an antenna. I don't know who has actually better hair here, Stake, Doinb, or Mouse.
Maybe that's intentional. Maybe everyone's hair is eventually just going to turn into Stakes. Like, he just has that effect on teams.
Gravitates.
Yeah.
As there they go, RNG taking the stage. And like we said, new faces joining them. It's going to be Y4 and Karsa as the subs. Now, Y4 did play previously with RNG. He's been on the roster for a significant amount of time, longer than Abel has. And he's actually the dude that played when Uzi was injured last split.
Yeah, and Y4 has looked very good. In fact, they played against IG in the very first game of this entire split, and Y4 came in after Abel lost game 1 and looked phenomenal, honestly, and has been started for multiple games now.
And he does change draft priority a bit. Now, Kalista has kind of disappeared a little bit. It's hard to say if this is a trend or if everyone is just moving away from her. But Y4 is a big Kalista player. It was his most played champion previously. He looks very comfortable on it. So we'll see if maybe that crops back up into the ban phase, or if the LPL truly is done with Kalista and moved on to the Ezreal, the Kog'Maws, and all of those other ADCs.
I still wonder, though, because in that last draft, as you said, it was very much a gambit from RNG going into Rogue Warriors. So I feel like there's still a good chance for Kalista to come out here. But that is a good thing to keep track of, because the meta is very much evolving very quickly in the LPL.
Yeah, and I feel like it's moving more towards kind of not disengaged supports, but we do see a lot more Janna coming up. We see a lot more Tahm Kench, and that was kind of the evolution of Team WE bringing out the Caitlyn and the fast push strategy with the unsealed spellbook and the teleports everywhere and things like that. So I wonder if that's a response. I need to definitely dig a little bit deeper into the draft priority, not just in the LPL, but also looking globally to kind of figure out where the thread is for the Kalista.
I mean, to be fair, not all the teams have moved that direction. WE was very much the first with the fast push, with the inspiration trees, and pretty much everyone going inspiration tree, and specifically having the unsealed spellbook. Now a lot of teams are following suit, but that was very much trailblazed by WE.
Yeah, and it was it's interesting because it was their old world strategy, and they're like, let's just put a new spin on it with the brand new Runes and Masters of 2018.
Yeah, and it is working out so far. I do want to take a second to look at Rogue Warriors, though, because this could potentially be a 2-0 here over RNG, and it's actually just wondering, like, yes, there are some experimentation here and some vying for the jungle spot, but we'll see how that goes. We are going to send it over to the casters, though, for game number 2.
Thank you very much, Pulse and FLICKR. I don't know how much more of this I can take, Rusty, because these games have been amazing for the past few days.
They certainly have been. They have definitely been delivering. Every time RNG seems to be on the Rift as well, something crazy is happening, and that's kind of out of the ordinary, let's say, for RNG. They're meant to be a team that can do extraordinary themselves, but it feels like they have to do that just to win now, not to do something above and beyond winning anymore.
And you know, last split in the LPL, you take a look at the top teams, you'd be like, you know what, any team that beats them, that'd be an upset. Starting of Spring Split 2018.
What's an upset, Fish?
What is an upset? Because everybody is so close in each and every conference. Even down to this match, Rogue Warriors against RNG. You can see their score in the East Conference, 2 wins and 2 losses apiece. And Rogue Warriors are the team that are up 1-0. RNG definitely were the favorites heading into this match.
It's all tied up, but you better believe we've got some Karsa action now coming in with Y4. Last time we saw Y4, he looked fantastic. Karsa, I think we've only seen him once, and honestly, it wasn't very good from him, but he wasn't playing a meta champion. He was trying to innovate and got pushed around, got bullied, and beaten and bruised. So now he's got a real opportunity to come into the team and play a bit more consistently, a bit more as you would expect from Karsa as a player, and maybe just hit those smites.
Yep, Karsa opened the match for RNG in their first game back in the LPL this year.
We speculated if that was going to be an Abel-Karsa duo thing as the reason, but that's clearly not the case ever since.
No, it's not, because they've been swapping around Abel and Y4 quite frequently. But this is the first time Karsa's been back, to my knowledge.
Correct.
And now he's playing with Y4, who's been subbed in over Abel. Abel didn't have the worst of games, but he did get caught out in the final team fight that gave Rogue Warriors the victory.
Yeah, like Abel didn't really do anything. He didn't do anything poorly, but he didn't do anything. And Y4, from what we have seen, just has a bit more presence in lane, a bit more control in the 2v2 and working with Ming. Again, these two have been operating together for a year, as Y4 was the right-hand man of Uzi every single time that he was injured. He was always around to pick up that slack, and I mean, they won Rift Rivals together.
They certainly did. And the first bans have already come through here. Rusty, Kog'Maw, Braum, and Galio being banned out by RNG for the side of Rogue Warriors. Ezreal, Camille, and Azir are their 3 bans. Flawless gets Lee Sin again. We are going to see Smlz on his Varus. Karsa picking up Jarvan, the champion he played the first time he played for RNG.
And I would like to see Kalista, Tahm Kench seen from RNG as the response. I think both of them should honestly be picked in tandem. You could go Braum, but Braum's banned. And so ultimately, when you're looking at support options remaining, something that has control in lane is the real goal. The rest of the roster, though, you mentioned the Jarvan being locked in. I think that's super good for Karsa, super good for RNG. A bit of extra engage, a bit of extra lane and jungle pressure to go up against Flawless on his Lee Sin.
Immediately, though, RNG will lock in Ryze as their champion of choice. They have their final pick here, the first pick rotation. Karsa was flashing the Alistar, something that is constantly banned out against Ming. But instead, they go for Ornn, Flex picking up between Letme as well as Ming. Rogue Warriors don't have the option of picking up the Braum encounter since that's been banned out.
No, they don't, but they may well go for the Gangplank once again. Just to, you know, make the assumption that Ornn's going top lane, but because it's not set in stone, it's not fully revealed, the opportunity is there to change things up for the Rogue Warriors side. However, I think Mouse on Gangplank was perfectly fine. And you know it's going to get banned away if they don't lock it in here.
And Tahm Kench does get locked in for Rogue Warriors. And as FLICKR was mentioning on the desk, Rusty, Kalista fell through the draft phase in that last match. Has not been picked up in the first rotation with Y4 being brought in, although it was hovered by RNG. Potentially, the LPL's done with this champion.
There's been a lot of hovers and a lot of consideration for the Kalista. I do feel like Y4 may still go for it, and so Rogue Warriors could even consider banning it away with the Caitlyn, perhaps. But when you look at what they would be banning, Alistar makes sense. They've picked up the Tahm Kench, maybe even the Shen to follow. And we're not really sure what's going to be picked in that AD carry position, to be honest.
As you mentioned, Alistar hitting the bench here. Ming he was a highlight reel when he picked up the champion. They decided not to pick it up early on, so picking the top side very early for RNG.
Yeah, with that extra priority on the Ornn, of course, being able to flex it alleviates a whole host of pressure as Doinb is now getting targeted.
Karma is the man that comes out from RNG. Doinb has been very outspoken that he, can step back to be more of a utility-based mid laner.
Yeah, now he can also play meta things. He's got a game as Smlz. Azir is banned from him, so he's not going to be able to pick that one. But he's also got Lulu as a champion that he has played, and it really comes down to what the rest of the composition's going to be. Can Lulu work? Well, if you have a Rumble top lane or a Gangplank top lane, there's always going to be that possibility that they can pick that one. Alawi as well, actually. I think Alawi's a super awesome consideration here if the Ornn does end up top lane.
Oh no, don't do this to Pulse, Rusty.
Well, Pulse isn't casting,
We'll
so
give
the
him a heart
probability
attack.
is
It's
100% higher than it was.
We can't do that to him. First Urgot, then Alawi. What's next? Soraka top might come out.
Okay, that's not his.
He tried to make it
That's
his.
not his.
He tried to. He tried his hardest.
And I'm glad he stopped trying ever since.
Well, RNG do ban out Nah as their final ban in the second ban rotation. Caitlyn wants the ban from Rogue Warriors. They get first pick here.
Yeah, no, decent ban, removing one of the top lane carry tanks, of course, but opening up options elsewhere on the map by not banning out the entirety of Doinb's champion pool, though you can't really do it successfully. They still give Kassadin to Doinb, one of his other Abyssal Mask champions. And if you're thinking of Doinb's champion pool, it has to involve Abyssal Mask or it's a support.
Which leaves Rogue Warriors top lane pick for Mouse last. Unless we see the Tahm Kench flex up there, which we have not seen in a long time. They should know that it's going to be up against this Ornn. Or, if it was a flex pick, RNG would have to show them now. And they hovered the Kalista, but straight away locking in the Vayne for Y4.
I feel like that is one of the, it really depends on what the support is to be complimenting him. I'm not sure it should be the Ornn, though there was a combo there between them with the Condemn. I would expect something with a bit more lane presence. However, there is an Alistar and a Braum already removed. The Tahm Kench already locked. Do they go to Shen?
It almost feels like a...
Or is it Janna?
It almost feels like an RNG requirement now. To be an AD carry on our team, you have to be able to play Vayne. As the final pick for RNG is actually going to be Taric. So Ornn does head into the top lane. Mouse can now counter pick for it.
Okay, so they lock in the Taric. Of course, one of the few characters that has heal for sustain in the top, in the bottom lane 2v2 as well. Might help out the Vayne a whole lot when there's double relics and heals coming about. But picking the Vayne into Varus is already a losing situation. With a Tahm Kench that can apply damage, can amplify damage, Taric's role in this, Ming's role in this 2v2 is super crucial.
Whereas the final pick for Rogue Warriors is going to be Gangplank in the top lane. We've already seen how this one pans out multiple times in the LPL, and they're going for it once again. This time, however, RNG have the aggressive jungler of Jarvan. They have the Ryze in the mid lane, which were two key components that are constantly used to shut down the Gangplank pick.
And the Jarvan can very easily go to that top lane, you're correct. Last time, Xiaohu's also even hovering the teleport currently. He doesn't feel pressured by his 1v1 matchup. And it's a Kassadin, so rightly so. There is absolutely a possibility where Rogue Warriors get exploited from this draft. When you look at all of the scaling they have, a Kassadin, a Gangplank, all going to be fantastic. Varus is the one place where they succeed super early on. And of course, they spike throughout the whole game every time he gets an item. But I feel like Rogue Warriors have taken a bigger risk in this one by having harder scaling through those solo lanes against a comp that has less of it, has more immediate impact.
Another big question that we've been hitting time and time again, Rusty, is Flawless gets his Lee Sin so much in the LPL. We know he's played Jarvan, he's played Kha'Zix, the two staple picks in the jungle. He's also been flashy on his Nidalee. Not to great success, however, but this Lee Sin, the man is a monster on it. Teams still keep giving it to him.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder at what point they will ban it away. In this game, and the last game as well, I expected it to be removed, but there's just such high priorities. Champions that you actually have to ban. And if you don't ban them and you give away Lee Sin, maybe it's still worth it. Maybe that's just where the meta is really fell upon. Lee Sin if you're a one-trick. Riven if you're a one-trick as well, like Jinnu from LGD. Like, it's possible you get those champions more often because of how strong the meta is. Camille has to be banned. Azir, Smlz, all strong champions. Ezreal now in this second game had to be removed from Smlz.
But it's still targeting ban now. Targeted banning players like Ming, picking up the Alistar, yes. a strong support in the current meta, but we haven't seen too much of it as of late. Hey, that's you.
What?
Have you not listened to the discussion we've had about this?
No, not at all.
Raz and I reckon that that shopkeeper looks exactly like you.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Not even a little bit.
Dresses like you, he has the same, you know, posture, attitude.
You're all a bloody mess.
Don't say
Not
that
the
to the crowd.
Definitely you and Raz.
Come on.
Crowd's great.
Don't be this. They're lovely fans, Rusty. You can't do that to them. Cheering for the team. They're so passionate. All of them showing up here on a Monday.
Oh, listen to him still yapping after I called him a mess. Here he goes. Diversion tactics.
It's a Monday afternoon, by the way, Rusty. It's not morning anymore. I know that you reckon 5 o'clock is, you know, just about hitting the PM.
We're in game.
We're not in Australia anymore. The time zone's been changed.
I'll tip you upside down if you don't start talking about the game fish.
Well, we are in this game, Rusty. And RNG going to be starting on the red side of their jungle, picking up red buff. As we see Flawless this time not going for that red buff start on the top side of the map. He's going to be picking up blue buff for himself.
Yeah. As the bottom lane junglers will progress, something different from Game 1 to Game 2 for Rogue Warriors is the place that I would immediately want to draw my attention, being that Flawless gets the double lane leash. The nice stun in the bottom lane early.
Good
but
damage.
More so, after these guys trading, that Flawless isn't going to be on the bottom side to influence this lane anymore, and perhaps that does shift the face of what the 2v2 was. If RNG knew where he started in Game 1, they felt more pressured down here.
Really good trades coming out from both bottom lane duos here. Smlz always stepping up every time he has that fleet footwork available.
But that is a hard win for Rogue Warriors just because of the fleet footwork that you mentioned. That is the difference there. Extra sustain in the lane.
And here's that change at the top side of the map now with the aggressive jungle picker. Letme can be hyper-aggressive against Mouse, who already has been able to pick up a red health potion for himself. You know, just kleptomancy things, really.
Certainly is. Karsa also being nearby. Will he look for a dive is the question. There's no stopwatch active. I think he's looking for Flawless. A lot of Lee Sins will queue the Krogs before they walk in.
Instead he tags it with the E and then walks in on top of Karsa. Karsa gets good damage to kick things off, sending Flawless below 200 health before he can even respond. They might go for a dive here, Rusty.
It looks like they're considering it for sure. Cannon Wave, very good chance.
Xiaohu up in the top lane as well. There's actually nothing that Mouse can do, and first blood's picked up by Letme.
Super clean by Xiaohu being here. It allows them to dive, and guess what? They're still looking. Those minions are not yours, Flawless.
Well, he tries to jump away. Karsa looks for the flag, drag, flash combo, but does not get the knock up onto Flawless. Teleport coming to the top lane by Mouse. He wants to stick around, but this... Oh no! The poor Mouse! He's just stuck. There's too many members of RNG here. Xiaohu taking up the turret. Double knock up coming in. They land on the Xiaohu. Flawless gets in! Flawless gets a return kill. Karsa's gonna die here as well. Mouse is chasing him down. He's a little bit too quick. Ignite onto Flawless. He jumps away. Letme's gone onto the turret. It's a cloud fiesta up here. And Mouse, he's gonna get the double kill.
Mouse gets 2 kills on the... That could not have gone any worse for RNG for the secondary attempt at a dive. Xiaohu gets sniped by a Lee Sin Q, and then Chaos just breaks out. That's inexcusable from RNG. They started so well, and they just did not want to let Rogue Warriors get the minions. And a minion wave comes in, and that is what saves Rogue Warriors top laner, and eventually both of them.
Turret damage ramps up over time, and it does not change when you swap aggro anymore. They go for this dive, and Mouse, cool as a cucumber here, Rusty.
Now, the only one without flash is Karsa, so naturally he's not going to tank it up first. Xiaohu has been hit multiple times now. The tower was going to kill him either way. Flawless then wastes his flash. Unfortunately, he needs that to get the second kill, but Mouse will turn around and try and help. Letme, flash, ignite, going forwards. He knows he's going to die for this kill. And then Karsa comes in and says, let's make it a 2-for-1 special, boys. You can have another one on me.
Oh no, Mouse's double buff as well, Rusty. This is not good at all from RNG.
Flawless also got a kill as the end result of this. Now, meanwhile, the thing that we need to point out, the unsung victor of this is actually Doinb, who's got a CS advantage over a Ryze as Kassadin and is nearing that level 6 point.
Oh no.
And if things are going to go from bad to worse, that's actually the lane you're going to look at when Flawless gets closer to 6, when Mouse gets closer to 6. Global impact, cross-map impact as well from that Gangplank. I mean, I'd be bringing a Kassadin somewhere and assassinating a jungler.
We talked about this in Champion Select. The 3 pieces of the shutdown Gangplank puzzle. Ornn, Jarvan, Ryze, all 3 picked up by RNG. They went for that very early dive after a massive minion wave gets stacked in the top lane. They even chunked out Flawless. They got the first blood. They could have just, you know, left with that.
Yes, they could have.
But they didn't.
And no, they did not. And that's definitely the place that they will be looking at and saying, we made a giant mistake here.
As you mentioned, mid lane's already got an advantage. RNG's bottom lane, however, is still pushing in against Smlz and Killua, which looked like to be the advantage for Rogue Warriors earlier in the match.
Yeah, of course, poking out a Vayne and a Taric at level 1 is nice. It gave them lane pressure early, but it doesn't mean that you're going to win the lane, especially not with double relics running around and with a Taric there for the Vayne to heal up that little bit extra. Fleet footwork made the difference early, but now there is a free unsealed spellbook for both AD carry and support of RNG. And when they choose to recall, they can teleport back in.
Whereas Killua is the only one running it in the bottom lane for Rogue Warriors. Doinb has picked it up. In fact, he has his teleport available now on the Kassadin. Started with heal.
And stopwatches are also available. Moving into the next engages, there is a chance that we have a lot of golden children.
3 for both teams have been picked up. RNG 4 unsealed spellbooks in this match.
Yeah, they have 4 stopwatches themselves as well, so there's 7 on Summoner's Rift in game number 2.
Doinb picks up his first blue buff. Flawless donates that away. Xiaohu still yet to pick up his, and he's actually a level behind the Kassadin right now.
With Kassadin being level 6 and having that little bit of extra control as well, Ryze, whilst he has a catalyst, the way that this matchup tends to shift now is that Doinb will expend resources, trade his health constantly to try and up his damage output, knowing that he'll always have mana. If a Ryze doesn't have a blue buff, and if they don't time them perfectly, the Ryze actually loses the 1v1, so Karsa has to gank it pretty much straight away.
Karsa is on his way, but Doinb does path towards the bottom side of the map. Meanwhile, moving deep in towards Flawless's jungle.
Letme's here as well.
They give up the red buff for now. Karsa wants to try and take this one, but Gangplank is going for the collapse. We also have Doinb coming in as well. He has blue buff, so he can start stacking up Rift Walls. Teleport's coming in from the bottom lane. That's Ming trying to join this fight. Ultimate comes out from Ornn, redirects it the right way. First stopwatch used by Flawless. He's trying to get out. There goes another one. Karsa and Ming both using theirs. Kick away, trying to get Ryze away from this team fight. Karsa is low. Mouse is trying to dig this one out. He gets the kill, but big double knockout coming out from Letme. Returns one back for RNG. Mouse now trying to run away. Ultimate comes out from Xiaohu to cut off his retreat. He pops his own stopwatch as well. Can't get away from danger here though. There's no mana available for Xiaohu. He can only attack. Mouse gets out alive.
A complete magician's magic there from the top laner of Rogue Warriors. They're diving bottom as well.
Teleport's coming down into this bottom lane now. Who the heck is coming down here? Gets cancelled. Ming! Oh no! Flawless has found him! He gets taken down. Y4 in the bottom lane forced to use his own cleanse as well to get away from Smlz's ultimate. And there's just action everywhere.
I think it was Letme's teleport that was cancelled there, but Ming's also got... I really don't know anymore. Either way, the teleport was cancelled. Bottom control to Rogue Warriors in the 2v2 down there, and pressure onto the structures. Now, Karsa wanted that red buff so desperately, but he wasn't going to get it. And Xiaohu has to come in and defend this structure from falling. This is complete damage control from RNG at 9 minutes.
All right, the next person to tell me that Season 8's meta is boring deserves a smack, because this game has been amazing to watch. And we have four unsealed spellbooks coming out from RNG in this game, and everyone is just teleporting everywhere, going for fight after team fight.
You know, the next person to tell you that, Fish, doesn't know where to watch League of Legends. Let's put it that way. We've got a ripe old stream just sitting here ready for you to watch.
With that, though, Rogue Warriors have picked up a 1,500 gold lead over RNG just 9 minutes into this match. A lot of that is on the top side of the map, though. Here is that chaotic team fight once more.
And a lot of this for RNG starts off by missing spells. Karsa misses the flag drag, but he's in. And so now they're committed to the fight. The other thing here is teleports will come in. Doinb's aggressive. Mouse and Xiaohu duke it out, but Flawless secures the red buff with a smite for 6. Then he gets to use his stopwatch and dash away, as everyone else was using their stopwatch to avoid some kind of damage here. But Flawless gets to live because he gets 6, because he kicks Xiaohu away, and that gives enough time for Doinb to come back in and make a trade out of this. Something that probably should have went to just RNG. Stopwatch here was good, and it looks like he's dead. Everyone just thought he was dead, and then no one realized that Xiaohu had no mana. the worst communication, unfortunately, for RNG on the back end of that fight from what started so well.
And Mouse held on to his flash for so long as well. Letme looking to try and cut off the alternative retreat path meant that they didn't have enough damage to take him down.
They want Karsa.
They're going to get out, kick him back. Does get the lead sync Q. Ultimate comes out for Karsa. Flag drag gets him away. No Gangplank ultimate available. That was a teleport being used in the top lane, I believe.
Yeah, barely lives though, Karsa. Unfortunately for RNG, that pressure they had on the top side, through a cheeky play, just being in the right place at the right time, Rogue Warriors jungler Flawless diffuses.
Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, you can see Rogue Warriors, with all the pressure they've had over Y4 and Ming, get good damage on the bottom lane out of turret. Taric's been rotating to the top side of the map. Vayne is naturally not a good or strong laner at all.
And I can't stress how important it is that Flawless and Mouse chunked out Karsa to prevent the top lane turret from being dove, or pushing away Mouse from the turret. He had no ultimate, and they were pushing and making a play for the bottom side of the map, Rogue Warriors. And RNG's response was top lane, but completely diffused there from a small little movement. I know it doesn't result in a kill, and it doesn't feel significant, but if it gives the first turret over to Smlz, if it allows Rogue Warriors to go from turret to Drake even, to then recall and set up for top lane, that's where they get a gold advantage from.
Well, they've picked up that gold advantage, close to 3,000 gold in the lead. Karsa is going to spot out Rogue Warriors taking this Cloud Dragon. Doinb is low on mana, but so is Xiaohu. Xiaohu, with blue buff though, can regenerate some. Flawless picks up the Cloud Dragon. Karsa goes to go for the steal. Ornn's ultimate does come out. Does he redirect it the right way? Does not. Blast Cone gets everyone else from Rogue Warriors back to safety.
Now they're looking for the blue buff though, Fish. They want to at least steal this away, and Rogue Warriors are here, and they're watching.
That's smited away by Karsa. Xiaohu already had his own, so small victories here for RNG. Dragon does go the way of Rogue Warriors, but just a Cloud.
Does mean an unfortunate recall may be there for Doinb because he has the teleport. So if he runs out of mana, yes, he'll have to go back to base. But right now, he's playing so aggressively and using W's to keep mana up.
Xiaohu able to dodge out away from the Lee Sin Q. Psychic Wave does not connect. He stays in lane to continue pushing out against the Kassadin, who has acquired a nice gold lead for himself, about 20 CS up over Xiaohu.
Has the Abyssal Mask too, so as far as I'm concerned, they were ready and they were looking for some kind of fight if he had the mana, if he had the blue buff, or if something was there for Doinb specifically. But I like the call. I respect that they back away from that scenario. You can tell where fights were earlier, by the way, for all the zombie wards that are just about to time out. I think it's pretty much only Rogue Warriors that I've seen from the LPL that have a significantly higher priority on zombie wards than everyone else.
Which, as we said during the last game, it's very heavy of a priority in the LCK. So is a rune that we should look out for.
Like, and it's still, yeah, it's still high priority, don't get me wrong. From what I'm seeing, I think that Rogue Warriors on all of their solo laners will have zombie ward in some capacity. Primary or secondary.
Well, RNG still have their eyes set towards the top lane. This was spotted out. And they're going for the dive on towards Mouse. Karsa going to cut him off. Doesn't get the first knockup. A stun does come through from Taric. Condemned into the wall as well. That is overkill. And everyone for Rogue Warriors, they want revenge for taking down their little top laner. They're going to chase on through. Flawless hits them. Turret is still there. Flawless does get the kick back on towards the Taric, but RNG jump back in once again. Killua keeps Lee Sin alive. Another teleport coming into this fight. Xiaohu's trying to jump into the pit. Killua with the grey health. Smlz's not here, but Rogue Warriors still trying to pick a fight. And one by one, every single member falls. Only Doinb left alive.
Big overstep by Rogue Warriors, looking for a fight for no reason. They abandon mid lane. They don't just abandon Mouse. They choose to try and defend him. So now they all die. The turret still falls, and RNG get a big power play back to equalize the difference.
Doinb still sticking around. Has mana, but is forced to flash away. Smlz says, that's alright, I will fight him. Xiaohu taking a lot of damage, gets locked down, still in trouble. Smlz, he charged up the arrow, but it's just not long enough to take down Xiaohu.
It does force him back. Smlz was super close to getting that kill. 2 summoners still available for the AD carry of Rogue Warriors. And this may be one of those games, Fish, where the bottom lane 2v2, where Smlz can be a hero and can make the difference in this set. The rest of the map now feels super close.
It's deja vu though, Rusty. RNG just picked up another team fight, and they're still 2,000 gold behind Rogue Warriors.
Of course, we'll get to see that team fight once again. It all starts with Mouse. He knows that he's out of position. He's trying his best to get away, but with the range of Ornn's ultimate, we'll lock him down. Condemned to follow up. Y4 rather. I almost said Able because it's Vayne. Does play this fight very well to output as much damage as he can, especially on the back end. From here, just back away. They have absolutely no reason to do that kick. Flawless has no reason to put himself next to a wall when there is a Vayne with Condemn, and Killua's then just left trying to save him and save Doinb, and then he is the one who dies for it. Super tragic. I'm not too sure why they overcommitted themselves to that, unless it was a 5-man magical kick from Flawless.
Well, Doinb's down in the bottom lane during this fight, going 1-on-1 against Letme. Ornn fancy the chance against the Kassadin, going to be able to get the knock up from the ultimate, but no way to follow back up. He doesn't have his own teleport, neither does Doinb, so this is a 4-on-4 over the Rift Herald. Karsa's went in, trying to see if he can get the smite. Execute can come out from Lee Sin. He does get it. Rogue Warriors will win the fight over Rift Herald, but they still have to pick it up. Flawless will be able to take it down. Ultimate comes out from Mouse, trying to separate the C-fight. Karsa with a big ultimate to lock Rogue Warriors in the pit. Y4 popping his own ultimate, trying to move forward. Smlz flashing forward. The ultimate from Ming, still not going to last. Flawless diving in. Stun only lands on the Lee Sin. Eaten up by Killua to keep himself alive. Smlz's going forward, but the rest of the Rogue Warriors are going to back off.
But Smlz was here this time, and that is the difference. He's able to push them away. He uses the flash. He's aggressive. He's going forwards, and RNG are left with only backing away as their only option. The kick's on, he has it.
Thankfully, his mind was telling him no that time round. Smlz gets damage on the top lane, outer turret, but there's rotations coming out from RNG. Both Letme and Xiaohu can be delivered into the backlines, and they will. Smlz is stuck, going 1-on-1 against the Ryze. Flawless is there to try and back him up.
Full health.
Mouse has jumped back to the fight. Xiaohu in trouble. There's Doinb trying to rip walk in the backlines. Karsa's in trouble. There's a good old pirate trying to chase everyone down. Smlz gets the first kill. Y4's trying to dive away from the fight. Double kill picked up by Varus, and Rogue Warriors turn it around.
And in a series of unfortunate shot-calling events, we have found ourselves now back with Rogue Warriors pushing again off RNG's decision to engage. When will it stop, Fish? Someone save me.
It's never going to stop, Rusty. You can always see Flawless going back to base. Has the Rift Herald, decides not to use it for the outer turret, which Smlz and Killua should be able to take down by themselves. Dragon is going to respawn, another Cloud Dragon. But Rogue Warriors could make their way towards the pit to take another objective. We're just 18 minutes into the match, Rusty. Already 13 kills.
It started chaotic early, and both teams are fully committed to the cause as Flawless misses his kick onto Xiaohu, but Smlz is full health the entire time. Mouse and Doinb, they're running distraction duty, and Y4 is trying his best to output damage. I honestly feel like both AD carries have been playing very well this game, but Smlz is just too far ahead. He won his lane in the 2v2. And if that's where the difference really lies, then that's where Rogue Warriors get their advantages. And they have a Gangplank to farm extra gold up with the Kleptomancy. Then they have the scaling advantage. RNG are looking at maybe the next 2 to 5 minutes to say, well, Lee Sin's supportive now. He's mostly just a kick bot.
He's got his Warrior Enchantment upgraded, and he's going for the Knight's Vow once again. So we'll be able to provide some extra dive potential for Smlz, or potentially Doinb or Mouse if they need it during a team fight. And Smlz is massive. Up 200 CS, 2 kills. Gwinsu's Rage Blade, as well as the Wit's End complete, even picking up the Ninja Tabby to make sure that he doesn't die to Karsa's dive.
I think he's actually insurmountably large now for everybody except for Y4. If the question is, how do we kill Smlz? How do we beat apart a Wit's End, magic resistance, fed Varus? Well, the answer is a 1v1 with Y4 where the Vayne can output the damage. Otherwise, it's never going to happen.
Rogue Warriors make their way down to the Dragon Pit, looking to take down the Cloud Dragon for their team. They already had one, so 2 will be stacking up quite nicely. Third one to spawn will be an Ocean Dragon. Just small objectives here and there. 20 seconds until Baron comes up for the first time.
And I feel like with the 2 completed items of Mouse at this point in the game, with the Baron coming up like you mentioned, the dynamic starts to shift, the advantage starts to shift. A Vayne can't split push on this side of the map, but he needs to be on this side of the map. It's a cleanse Vayne now, no longer a teleport. Herald also being summoned, I think, out of necessity. With all of the fighting that has happened in the past couple of minutes, they almost forgot to set up for a Herald play, but they're sieging the mid lane with it. They want to try and get something out of it.
It's going to get a full health charge, which is always useful. And that's all that Rogue Warriors settle for. Set up the mid lane inner turret to be knocked down later on in the match.
Yep, they put it in the oven.
180 degrees at the moment, baking for a few minutes. Let's see what time they take it out. Rogue Warriors now move towards the Baron pit as Doinb fancies a piece of Y4, jumping in quite aggressively.
Doinb is able to play like this now that he has a Zhonya's Hourglass as well. He's building that little bit more offensively than we're used to from him, and I know that does sound funny, but the Zhonya's Hourglass is a very nice hybrid item for Doinb. When you're looking at the rest of his team as well, we've mentioned the AD carries builds a Locket Rush for Killua on top of all of this to try and stop Burst from the side of RNG, and that's something that they have only got small amounts of. I actually think that it's more just to stop the Vayne's damage, the proc from his Silver Bolts.
Y4 0-3 hasn't been falling in these team fights, still has his own stopwatch, but just not dealing enough damage just yet. No early static shiv, which we've seen a lot out of Crystal.
Yeah, actually went straight towards the Infinity Edge, you're right. Straight towards the AD route with his itemization. And it's not at the Ardent Sensor just yet for Ming, but I believe that is why he has gone towards the rush of the IE. We get that extra attack speed every time he is shielded and healed.
Which seems to be what Ming is trying to pick up here. No tier being picked up by Taric. We see a lot of Tarics in the LPL pick up tier of the Goddess. Try and supplement their mana, not only in the laning phase, but also throughout team fights.
Yeah, I think his flat amount of mana may be cause for concern here, Ming. In saying that, he'll have a lot of mana regeneration. Typically, the support item of choice is a redemption against a Gangplank. As the kick is on.
Flawless going to knock back Karsa out of his FLICKR drag. Can they kill him in time? And yes, they can. Mouse gets the parlay for that final tick of damage. Jungler is gone, and Rogue Warriors look towards Baron.
They're actually going to hit it as well. They're not baiting the Baron. They are doing it straight away, and with how much damage they've got, it is successful. It is theirs. And RNG don't want any piece of that pie. They're just going to try and push mid lane.
Big pick coming out from Flawless, knocking Karsa out of the flag and drag. They're trying to collapse on towards Y4, who was just pushing down mid lane. Not able to do so, but with Baron buff, they can collect what they put in the oven and move towards that mid lane in a turret.
They have cleared the wave quite well, Y4, maybe to just slow them down that little bit further, try and prevent that push in the mid lane. And Rogue Warriors knowing this fact as well, they don't have the minions. They're trying to make a pick onto Letme, and they can see him teleporting, so they're not going to catch him.
That is a crucial summoner being used by RNG. Letme uses it to get out to the bottom lane.
As one of their two teleports on top of that fish. Only Xiaohu can split push now, and Doinb is now able to run amok as a result of that.
We can still see Y4 and Ming swap out, but the cleanse a little bit too important for RNG's bottom lane duo at the moment. Red buff gets picked up by Smlz inside of RNG's jungle. Rogue Warriors spend a little bit of time wasting the Baron buff to recall, but they take some small objectives here and there. Hurricane already picked up by Smlz as well. Sheen being picked up by Doinb here. And even the makings of Mouse's third item coming up shortly.
I think best case scenario for Y4, as you mentioned, those summoners and the necessity for cleanse is that he needs a QSS. I actually think that optimal for here is a QSS and he swaps that cleanse back to heal. That way he's able to actually still survive through all of the physical damage that is on the other side. Now QSS is there for the Varus. Cleanse is currently there for the Varus as well. They just don't want to get engaged on while they have to frontline to wave clear. And when you've got a static shiv on your Vayne, Y4 is actually a part of the wave clear. He contributes to that, so they could catch him out of position. That's why the QSS is super valuable.
So now Rogue Warriors return into that mid lane. You see barrels being thrown down by Mouse. No crit comes out. As Flawless being a bit cheeky with Ming. Ultimate's going to come out from Smlz. That actually procs, I should say, the cleanse coming out from Y4. As no one saw Letme headbutt the wall.
Oh no, he never headbutted any wall. He's just currently dueling Doinb on the bottom side of the mid lane. Kassadin being a pest. Doesn't have his completed Lich Bane though, so as Assassination goes, Kassadin is not quite online. It's a couple rotations of ultimate and blue buff still needed for the mid laner of Rogue Warriors.
Just under half of the Baron buff is remaining for Rogue Warriors here. Normally you see the team that picks up the first Baron, rotates around the map, picks up all the turrets outside of the opposition's base. Rogue Warriors are still trying to set up for just that. Only mid lane's taken down. Moving towards top lane and bottom lane now.
In about 15 seconds, Kassadin's teleport will be back and available as well. So they threaten on the top side of the rift, utilizing Mouse actually as a point of power.
There we go. Smlz is in the top lane. Gets good damage on this turret. Cannon minion is there, so it's still going to chip away. RNG step up to clear that wave out. Flawless is in the mid lane.
Even a Tahm Kench coming in. Ryze is going to teleport to try and defend it, so they should be able to hold this for the moment. The thing you're looking at now, though, Fish, is that the Varus ultimate should be up before a Vayne cleanse is. And that may be the go button for Flawless and for Rogue Warriors.
Which means Y4 can't step forward, but there should only be one more wave of Baron available for these teams. Doinb is actually going to teleport down into the bottom lane. Did not complete his Lich main, but Mouse still topside of map means Rogue Warriors effectively splits up RNG and take down all the outer turrets.
If they get this turret as well in the bottom lane, as the top lane one just secured by Mouse, you would actually expect that this is Ocean Drake and Recall timing instead of pushing any further, just because of how long they have been spending side lane pushing, pressuring and controlling the map. There'll be a lot of money for everybody except for Doinb as he teleported.
It's a very solid playstyle. Take down all the outer turrets, take every small objective on the map. Rogue Warriors did it well just as their Baron buff expired. Didn't even force a fight against RNG, giving themselves a 10,000 gold lead over RNG.
They have played this game out very well once they got the lead, once the chaos actually was put back in its place. And we got to see Rogue Warriors play slower League of Legends, pressure RNG in all 3 lanes at once. They've done so very successfully and they've looked very good doing it, as they've now hit those big item spikes respectively on their side.
And now with the item advantages that Rogue Warriors have picked up, they can sit and wait. Baron will come up in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And when that objective is back up, RNG will be forced to pick, fight for it or lose another massive objective, potentially parts of their base.
Tends to be the game plan. Of course, taking that blue buff away would have been nice to have as well, but Doinb, he's only level 15, but he's found himself a Vayne.
Y4 forced to use his ultimate, takes a lot of damage, uses his cleanse once again. Ultimate will come out from Gangplank as Ornn just gets obliterated. Killua puts himself on the scoreboard as he picks up that kill.
Letme actually dies for the sins of Y4 in the middle lane also. Now they pressure. Only one lane to push. Xiaohu and Y4 still here to clear waves, but Smlz's pressure may prove too much.
And he has a decent amount of shields here, so he can continue to auto-attack this turret. Mouse going to tank it back up, and Rogue Warriors pile on in, taking down Inhibitor turret 1 in the mid lane. Inhibitor is the target for them here. Doinb has to be careful. He's low on mana. Mouse low on hit points. RNG looking to try and go through. Xiaohu going for that duel. Smlz does get condemned to the wall, but Killua will eat him up and keep him back and safe. Karsa slams onto the AD carry. Xiaohu forced to use his Zhonya's to get away, but Doinb's taken down. Karsa, Killua is hungry for more. He gets one more kill. Make that another one for Rogue Warriors as Y4 is being pushed back to the fountain.
And the Inhibitor is secured. 3 minions left alive. It's Y4 and Letme trying to defend, and I think they will. So Rogue Warriors will play it slower. They'll go for the second inhib. They are too far ahead, it feels like.
Baron is up in a minute. There's nowhere that Rogue Warriors have to go in a rush. Y4 as well as Letme trying to defend the rest of the base, but they're going to lose 2 inhibitors for their troubles.
2 inhibs gone, and look at the vision control that Rogue Warriors already have around the Baron before it spawns. They can recall and they can reset and get extra iterations of those wards, but they feel no need to place it. RNG now have to go through 2 separate waves of vision control just to get to the Baron, which means realistically they'll be doing this blind. And they have to play way too risky. With a 13k gold deficit, you need a miracle from Xiaohu. Some kind of ulting Karsa into the Baron pit at the perfect moment, I think is the only thing they've got left.
And that Baron comes up in 25 seconds. RNG had control of game number 1, and it was Baron steal from Flawless that kick-started the comeback for Rogue Warriors. Even in this match, RNG picked up a few team fights, but no matter what they did, Rogue Warriors were one step ahead, always held on to that gold lead.
The side wave control has been there for them also. Having the double teleport, the Kassadin with the Gangplank, of course. The 1v1 matchup, Xiaohu can't afford to side lane, he can't afford to split push, and Rogue Warriors, there is a Scuttle Crab showing them, but they can just hide inside the pit if they need.
Well, a couple of members skirted around vision here, but Flawless said, you know what, I'm walking straight through it.
They know that was warded, however.
And they're going to continue.
Xiaohu has no teleport, so that's just a free Baron.
And RNG just give this up. No contest. Karsa's not even going to look for a steal, so they're trying to put their eggs in one final all-in, it seems. Rogue Warriors with 3 minutes 30 of Baron to work with and 1 inhibitor left up in the top lane.
The last remaining hope for RNG is holding the base, holding in one push as well. If side lanes start to mount up, if a big wave builds bottom. The problem with what Xiaohu has done is whilst he's cleared the wave and he's bought them 30 seconds to a minute, the amount of super minions that'll crash at the same time will be larger than. And so Rogue Warriors can actually play this one out slow. It's RNG's responsibility to try and find a desperate engage There's no summoner spells on Smlz. There's no flash on anybody of Rogue Warriors. Now's the time, if ever.
Doinb is holding onto the wave in the mid lane. Damage onto the top lane inhibitor. Letme charges in, locks down Mouse. Good damage from Whitefall onto the Pirate. Mouse responds with his own ultimate. Smlz going to lock down Letme, but he goes invulnerable from Taric. Whitefall trying to tumble into the back lines. Good kick there coming out from Flawless. Doinb jumping onto Whitefall, pops his own Zhonya's. Whitefall left with no health, and it's a double kill for the Pirate. He wants Whitefall, pushes him back to the fountain once again. Xiaohu's left all alone. Flawless, is he going to dive in? He does, and gets the kill. Whitefall will pick up revenge, but it's not going to be enough. He doesn't even get the revenge he wanted as Mouse hunts him down. Finally, the stopwatch comes out, but time's not going to stop for RNG because Rogue Warriors, they'll take down the Nexus. They'll pick up the 2-0 victory over RNG.
Rogue Warriors show up on the day and they absolutely spank RNG. You can see all smiles from them now, and deservedly so, because it's RNG's own sword that they fall upon. Their own mistakes that cost them the entire game and potentially the entire set. Even game one, you would look at RNG and say there were things that they should be cleaning up, but today's not their day. Today is the day of the Rogue Warriors.
And again, the question for the Rogue Warriors is how many times is Flawless going to get this Lee Sin? Because so many of their plays in game one, in game two, were created off the back of that man. And they just have such a solid roster to back him up every single time.
His Lee Sin is immaculate. It's something that he probably should not be getting, but at the same time, this wasn't a Lee Sin performance from Flawless that outright won the entirety of the set. It was a performance from Smlz that stepped up above the rest. Mouse, every single time he was getting ganked, he was too hard to kill.
When RNG put Karsa back in, didn't look hopeless on the Jarvan, set up the Knights and early play top side of the map. But things just never looked good for RNG no matter what they tried to throw Rogue Warriors' way. And I think MLXG's expression after game one really summed it up. What the heck happened?
He's just staring at the ceiling with an empty look in his eyes as well. He's not sure what happened, but I can pretty confidently say that Rogue Warriors are a side that have so much potential, and we only saw a little bit of it today. It wasn't perfect from them by any means, but it was good. It was enough to net them a victory.
And this puts them ahead now 3-2 in their conference. RNG are going to drop further behind, and yes, you know, a lot of the top teams like to experiment all the way to Chinese New Year, but how much can you lose in the early half of the spring split before it really starts to affect where you will stand at the end of the season?
Of course, this was a battle for standings as well, both being tied at 2-2, and for RNG going in their own conference, yes, they get to play everybody in this group twice, but to lose to them the first time just puts you at tiebreaker scenarios. Even if you beat them the second, standings become a lot harder to climb, and RNG's mountain becomes that little bit steeper every single set that they lose. And this, look, honestly, at this point, it's not just because Uzi's on the bench. The RNG are just not playing as well as we're used to seeing from them currently, and that's something that just has to be acknowledged.
It was an action-packed game as well, Rusty. 23 kills in that match that only went for 31 minutes. It did start hot. Started with a dive in the top lane, and Mouse just looked like he was in his comfort zone throughout all the chaos.
He's been there before. Mouse knows what it means to be dove a million times over, and this time around he's on the Gangplank. Stopwatches, oranges, everything was K for him in the top lane.
It certainly was, and Rogue Warriors are the ones that pick up their 2-0 victory. To break down that series, let's send it back to the desk.
Cheers, guys, and all right, Frost. Who was the perpetrator? Whose fault was it?
Why? I just feel like that game started and Karsa was like juggling chainsaws and everyone's like, oh, this looks so impressive. Like they got the initial gank up in the top lane, but then like one took off his arm and there were still two in there.
And everyone screams like, ah!
And then everything was on fire.
Yep.
No, unfortunately we have to start with champion select. And every team is different. Like I've been on a lot of different teams' comms. You know, sometimes it's very heavily based on like the players saying like, oh no, I want to play this. Like just trust me. And you can't always say that that's the coach's call. But unfortunately, there is a coaching position, and draft usually does go down to the coach. So Heart, this one's for you, baby. What the hell? Stop giving flawless Lee Sin. Why? I understand it's Lee Sin. You're like, banning that feels bad. But this guy is obviously unstoppable on this champion. And Rusty is correct. It wasn't all about the Lee Sin, but you can certainly start there.
Yeah, at a certain point you just have to ban it. And at the same time, it's just like maybe you just ban GP at this point as well, because it's like clearly the Ornn isn't working into the GP, and they tried, to be fair, they tried to execute on it, but that just went horrendously.
But we said it at the beginning, we're going to say it again, and we're going to start rolling our B-roll here and looking at all these different replays.
Get ready.
The champion pool for Rogue Warriors is very small. Doinb plays very weird things. Mouse plays pretty much exclusively Gangplank, and Flawless plays almost exclusively Lee Sin. Just take this away. Now, when we start with this B-roll, we're just like, grab everything top lane, because at this point for RNG, the lawn is on fire, the house is on fire, the dog's on fire. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at the top lane, and it never worked for them. And suddenly you have this Gangplank who gets a Trinity Force at like 11 minutes in the game.
But everything being on fire is what we like in the LPL, is it not? Like that. I mean, maybe not for you, but like I find it very entertaining. I mean, the end of that, like what actually happened was RW pull out the 2-0 over RNG, and those are words that I didn't think I was going to say at the start of the split. I was expecting RNG, even if they are coming in with different picks, different players as well into those roles, I would never thought it would come to this.
Yeah, and it's the fact that RW also kind of start off a little bit shaky and a little bit slow. We had a lot of hype driving around them. You know, this is supposed to be the comeback team, the revenge team. Mouse was kicked off, Smlz was kicked off, Doinb left JD, and they all group up together, and they're supposed to be like taking down names and kicking some ass, and then they kind of teetered out. But now taking down RNG, and it's hard to say because level of competition, that was not the RNG that we're used to seeing. Like that's a bad look for the team, and it's really weird about what's gone wrong with them because their shot callers were still there. It's supposed to be Ming, MLXG, and Xiaohu as kind of the primary voices in that conversation. We saw MLXG in game number 1, and it didn't really matter. And yeah, Karsa comes in. He was also one of the shot callers for Flash Wolves, so it's not like they're missing a leader in that roster right now. Like Uzi is not a shot caller, and things are still just a disaster.
I mean, it feels good for Stake though. It's like the LMS send the regards. It's like, get back to the bench. And that's basically, I don't think we're going to see Karsa again, to be honest. Maybe that changes when Uzi comes back, presumably after Chinese New Year. But every time Karsa comes into the roster, I don't think he's the main problem. He's not the main perpetrator, but he's going to get the sentence regardless. And that feels pretty bad because we're just going to see MLXG constantly now.
But I don't know, that initial tower dive and then the aggro didn't get juggled properly, because the fact that Mouse teleports back into that, you're like, oh, I guess he's just intentionally feeding now, because normally if you teleport back onto, you know, in the middle of 3 wolves, you like just put yourself back in the Coliseum, and it somehow works out for them, because surprise, surprise, the tower still has aggro, and suddenly Karsa is dead, suddenly Xiaohu is dead, and like,
Flawless turns up to the party. Yeah, exactly, and it all just kind of goes wrong, and it's not a good look, as you said, for RNG, you know, like simple things like a tower dive even just not working out, not being able to juggle that, especially in this meta as well, when it seems to be even easier because stopwatches exist, but they pull it off before 6 minutes so they can't even stopwatch. It becomes a massive problem for RNG, so we really need to see if they can fix it moving forwards, but we are going to send it over to Clement, who's standing by it with RW's mid laner.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. With me is the victorious Doinb. Doinb, 你可以跟大家打声招呼吗？
大家好，我是 2W 的中单Doinb。
That's such amazing Chinese. It always catches me off guard. So my first question for you, Doinb, is that I think the turning point for your series was how well Mouse handled all the pressure in the top lane. What were the rest of the map telling him when he was getting dived like 4v1, 4v2? How did you guys coordinate and kind of keep him up there? 就 Doinb， 我想问你的第一个问题是，我觉得刚刚那个系列的关键其实是这个光哥在上路的一个抗压，1扛4，1打9。 镇住了整个队伍的一个阵脚。那你们当时其实地图在其他地方的话，有跟他说些什么吗？那怎么样去支持他这样？
当时情况是这样的，是因为那个中单是退完线就不见了嘛，就他往上靠。我那波因为我那个睿智是回家，然后准备 TP 上去，因为那波貌似叫我们来上路就保护他，所以打野也上去了嘛。然后那个看到打野被那个皇子打残了，然后那个时候我以为是睿智上单 TP 过去，那个睿智是 TP 上去，但不是，并不是这样，他是就走过去，然后我看了睿智之后，哎，光哥对不起，但是也没有办法嘛，所以说就只能给战友吧，就光哥加油这种。 那我就没办法。
Okay, so what happened there was that Doinb's answer is that I saw Ryze disappear from the mid lane, and I told him that hey, Ryze is not here, and afterwards that I thought that Ryze might have used his teleport into the top lane, but that actually wasn't the case. Ryze actually just walked up there, and then we saw Flawless get chunked out by Karsa in the top lane, and there was nothing really I could do right there. So even though that Mouse was asking me, please come help me top, please come help me top, all I could really say is, Mouse, hang in there. And that was his only answer to the question. Doinb, that was a great answer. Thank you so much for taking us through those moments. My second question for you is that you're really known for building these tank builds on champion like Kassadin, like your Ryze, but today your Kassadin actually went for the more standard build, the Rod of Ages and the Lichbane kind of build. Can you talk us through your build choices? Doinb 就是我知道你其实你很多时候你的出装是非常有名的，就是比如说你的卡萨丁有时候都是出一些坦装这样子。那你能跟我们解释一下为什么你今天的一个选择好像是一个比较正统的时光跟这个巫妖的路线吗？
是因为这次前天跟老干爹打的时候，我们那个输给了嘛，那个第3把玩了卡萨丁，然后那把输了嘛。然后我看了就很多粉丝们说我的出装备有问题啊什么的，但是之前赢的时候他们说哇这个装备就无敌，但是我输的时候都是怪我骂我，哇你这个装备真没办法。所以说其实我都不管嘛，但是我就希望以后也是，就我们粉丝们，我比赛输的时候就骂我怪我，不要怪我的其他队友啊或者我们那个教练组，就骂我怪我就行。以后我也会出这种肉装，你们赢的时候就夸我，输的时候就骂我就行。
Okay, so Doinb's answer was a little bit indirect, but he did have something to say to all the fans out there in China. He says that when I lose and I build this tanky items, all the fan base is, cussing me out. They're saying that my build is total nonsense and they're all blaming me constantly. But when I win on the tank build, they don't say anything. So I hope that the fan base can keep it that way. When I lose, don't blame any of my teammates. Just put it all on me. Continue to blame me, and I'm going to continue to build my tank items. That's actually, I'm actually speechless. I can't believe you actually said that. So my final question for you, Doinb, is in the English cast we have given Smlz a name. We call him the marble statue because he typically doesn't show any emotion. Can you tell me what happens if you try to tell Smlz a joke? 就Doinb，我最后一个问题想跟你讲，就是这个英文的解说台的话，其实给司马老贼取了一个名字，他们就是称他为一座雕像，因为他似乎都没有表情的。那你自己是一个非常乐观开朗的人，你跟他讲一个笑话的时候会发生什么事情？
这个问题我回不了，对不起，这个问题回不了，对不起。
So Doinb's answer is a mimic of SMLZ's answer, which is basically, I'm sorry, but I can't answer this question. Thank you very much, Doinb, for this interview. Please don't go anywhere. We have the e-commerce worlds coming up for you. SNG versus, I'm sorry, Suning Gaming versus Jingdong coming right up.